Our next speaker is Rune Hansen, who is Vice President of the Arctic Unit for Statoil.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today, and I am especially happy to be here as a Faroese national. We share many challenges and opportunities with our Icelandic friends, so it's a pleasure for me to be here. With all the challenges we face in the Arctic, you might question why an industry like ours still is willing to take on this large task. The answer is twofold. One, we are working across the Arctic because we believe its resources will be a critical source of energy for a growing world. Economic growth and rising standards of living will result in a more than 30% increase in global energy demand over the next 30 years. In order to replace existing production and meet increases in future demand, the world will need an all-of-the-above energy strategy, one that includes the Arctic offshore resources. And second, it is not only a question of filling an increasing demand. Most of the fields that will produce in 2030 and 2040 have not yet been discovered. In fact, we have been producing more oil than we have discovered every year since the early 1980s. It is a huge task for our industry to fill the gap that is certain to appear. And the reason why we look to the Arctic to fill this gap is because we see great resource potential in the region. Preliminary studies suggest that the Arctic offshore contains 22% of conventional yet to find oil and gas resources. And yet, the Arctic continental shelf contains some of the least explored basins on Earth. But just as we see great potential in the Arctic, we also see great complexity. Some say the Arctic is a microcosm of the political and technological challenges our industry faces on a global scale. We believe that offshore Arctic exploration and development will put new demands on our industry. The Arctic is a frontier, but one that is getting closer day by day. Still, there are challenges to overcome. We face extreme climatic conditions, vast distances, and ice-filled waters. The Arctic communities require special care and considerations. These are some of the most sensitive communities on Earth. Cost is an issue when there is a lack of infrastructure. The industry needs to meet these challenges proactively, with the highest standard on health, safety, and environment, and operational quality. Just get the next slides area, thank you. This is why we have been positioning in key subarctic and Arctic basins over the last few years, in addition to strengthening our position in core areas like the Norwegian Barents Sea. We built on existing positions and experience, leveraging our history while looking to the future, taking things step by step, making sure we are confident we can make the next move. And we look to opportunities to get early access at scale in the prospective areas. We have had a successful exploration strategy for the last 3 years, and we aim to bring with us that success to the Arctic. One of the misconceptions often shared is that the Arctic is a single region. In our view, there are many Arctics, and we in industry must recognize that this and engage accordingly. We must understand that each Arctic community has unique interests and concerns. To differentiate between different Arctic areas, we have developed 3 categories in which to define our acreage positions. The first one is workable Arctic. Those basins we can drill and develop today with some modification. Our positions in the Norwegian Barents is a good example there. The next category is the stretch Arctic. Those basins we can drill today but require incremental innovation in our development and production stages. Our acreage in the Beaufort Sea fits into this category. And the final one is the extreme Arctic, basins for which we need radical innovation to drill or develop, such as the east coast of Greenland, where we have served as operator of the Canumas Group for many years now. Statoil is committed to a long-term presence in the Arctic offshore. It's a part of who we are, a technology-focused upstream company with the ambition to be a leading exploration player. But long-term success in the Arctic offshore will be about much more than experiences, leases, and technology. Success in the Arctic is also about taking the right approach. It requires a strong commitment to safety and flawless operational execution. There is no rush for the Arctic. Using the same stepwise approach we have used elsewhere, we are now working on developing our position in the workable Arctic. We are using the knowledge gained and improve upon that. And we are preparing for the future. Political will has opened different parts of the Arctic for energy development. But we in industry must not mistake legal permission for permanent access. In a new frontier, access must be earned, again and again. In the Arctic, we must take an approach that focuses on trust, shared value, and innovation. So the full potential of the Arctic can only be unlocked through innovation, more collaborative business models, and more joint technology programs. This is the only way to reduce cost and make Arctic projects commercially viable and globally competitive. This will also enable us to coexist with local population and other industries. There is no rush for the Arctic. We must use the same stepwise approach as we have done previously in other places. We cannot go faster than technology allows us to go, taking the time needed to find robust and sustainable solutions, solving today's challenges while at the same time preparing for the future. Our industry is taking on this task, establishing trust, articulating shared value, and focusing on innovation will be vital to our collective success. Thank you very much.